So apparently the results are in. Wait, hold on. Alright. Whew. Tried my best not to spoil it for myself. You know, technically it's only 2:40 in the morning, Monday morning, where I'm at. So I'm surprised they had the results already. Alright, here we go. Now hold on, I thought we were the ones with the most conch shells. Well, second place ain't bad, I guess. Ouch. I participated in all three. Oh yeah. Dang, you future guys got no love here. I like you guys as characters. $500. Ouch. I mean, kind of feel bad for Future, but then again, as they say, the future's unwritten, so we don't even know if they won or would have won. Well, that's nebulous. Whoop whoop. Yes. Did you see the score, big man? There's like, you got like no points this one. Cast ruler +3. 24 snails. Why not? Oops. Oh, you know what? I never thought about that. Hold on. Oh, this one. Okay, Splatoon 3. Oops. Where is the catalog? No, that's the catalog. Where is story mode? Wonder Crust? Wow, I got a lot of... Sorry, everybody. I'm kind of looking at the Splatoon 3 app, I guess. Sweet. Completed Journey 3. Wait, there's 6 journeys? Oh goodness. This one's not as bad. Or okay. Alright, well. Okay. Well, there's that. Actually, I should probably... head over to the lobby real quick. Why not? Okay. Well. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry about that long 15 minutes of meandering, I guess. But now we'll begin the... now that the final Splatfest, or at least the final new Splatfest, I'll put it that way, is over, I think it's time we give the game overall a critique, if you will, or a retrospective. Now, truth be told, once again, the internet kind of spoiled it for me, so I tried to be a little bit hyped about it, but I never expected Future to actually have 0 points on the board. I think that's actually the first time a team had no points on the board. I mean, it's not that... I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not that there weren't people who played, you know, Team Future. I mean, I've certainly been defeated by several, but so it goes. So, Splatoon 3, one of the things I do like about it was that, you know, over Splatoon 2 and even the original, is that, this actually featured first the, you know, tricolor Splatfests. So instead of 2 teams that we were deciding on, there was 3 decisive teams. Actually, I can pull up with my phone here some of the Splatfest results. Splatfest. Yeah, so let's see. How many different... Oh, I have to load more? Okay. Yes, so... including what I like to call Splatfest 0, which was basically the Splatoon 3 sneak peek demo of the game. Between rock, paper, and scissors. Rock won, by the way. We have had in this game now a total of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Yeah, so including Splatfest 0, we've had 20 different Splatfests. Which, which is nothing in comparison to Splatoon 2's 24 Splatfests. So, I don't know. I mean, as far as the variety of different Splatfests, I mean, they had some pretty good ones in here, but I don't know. Personally, I mean, I think we could have done without some of the... Personally, I think we could have waited before one of the tie-ins. I mean, Splatfest number 2, or official Splatfest number 2, you know, partner-type Pokemon, you know, grass, fire, or water. I think we could probably have done without... I think we could have probably waited a little bit longer for the Pokemon tie-in. And even then, the time in between the first and second Splatfest here was about a month. In fact, a lot of these Splatfests seem to have taken place within 1 or 2 months from one another, which was different from the every month from the original Splatoon, or Splatoon 2. Let's see. So how many different tie-ins did we have? We had the Pokemon tie-in, which was 1. Well, the Tears of the Kingdom tie-in, which was the second one. Yeah, I think we had like 2 different tie-ins. One self... I don't know, you want to call it a self tie-in or whatever, or self-congratulation. Basically, this Splatfest game, or Splatoon game, had its own idol battle between Shiver, Fry, and Big Man. Shiver won, by the way. Clear back in September 10th, 2023. So, literally about a whole year ago. Give or take a few days. So... And then, of course, you know, we've had some revisits in the form of, like, well, the springtime Splatfest between baby chicks, bunnies, or bears, you know. I think there was one between... Oops. I forgot the Switch does that. I think there was a tie-in once before. Or maybe I'm thinking of a completely different Splatfest overall. But it seemed like they compared 2 different I mean, this isn't even taking into consideration the Japanese Splatfests, which actually some of these are actually different. Let's see. Oh, here's another one. Money, fame, or love. I mean, technically we already had a battle between love and money, right? I think it was the Japanese Splatoon 1 that had a battle between love and money, right? And then that battle was revisited in the North American Splatfest 2, right? Or Splatoon 2, excuse me. Of which then now migrated here into Splatoon 3, but this time they added fame into the mix, right? I mean, I don't mind revisiting an old Splatfest that had already been done and decided with, you know, given a third one, but I don't know. It just kind of... I don't know, it just seems like I don't want to say a lack of creativity, but that's kind of what it is when they take an existing one, but with the question now being, okay, we know they won in a battle between the 2 of them, but who would win in a battle between the 3 of them, you know? Which, by the way, Money won the Splatfest, in what's important in life, money, fame, or love. That was held in August 11th, 2023. So that was actually just before the who's the best leader of Deep Cut. Let's see. Well, then there's the favorite taste sensation versus the favorite type of chocolate. You know, you prefer spicy, sweet, or sour items. And then there's, I don't know, I feel like some of the Splatfests had 2 similar themes, maybe. Maybe I'm just mistaken. And then there's the one about Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, you know. I don't mind that Splatfest, but I don't know, it just... it just didn't seem like there was a good creativity there as far as which choices. I mean, personally, I would have added like something akin to like luck, fate, or destiny. You know, do you believe that good things happen to those who are just simply lucky? Do you believe you're fated to? Do you believe your victories and defeats are fated, like everything's predetermined, or do you just, or no, excuse me, luck, fate, or skill? Or do you believe hard work is attributed to how hard you work, like skill? You know, because there's those three different mindsets, right? So anyway, um, so yeah, there I participated in a lot of Splatfests, or at least voted on them. So let me let me just count it up here on my phone. How many times, you know, the winner of the, excuse me, hold on a sec. Okay, so you know how the Splatfests in this game were devised into three teams, with the first team, second team, third team. Shiver, Fry, Big Man. So as far as the team depicted on the far left of their screen, like for example, in the first Splatfest, between gear, grub, or games, on what you would bring to a deserted island. Let me just count for my own sake how many times the choice on the far left had won. Let's see, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, and nine. So out of the 19 Splatfests, not including rock paper scissors, out of the 19 Splatfests, the team depicted on the far left actually won 9 out of the 19. The center choice won a total of 1, 2. Oh, hold on. Oh, wait, did I count this right? Oh, shoot. Maybe I didn't count it right. Give me a second here. Alright, so far left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, still 9. Sorry, I think I was counting. I think I was counting something else, but yeah, that's 9 different victories for the first team. The second team came out victorious in 1, 2, 3. Ouch. So, yeah, the middle team only won 3 Splatfests. And the team on the far right, won how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7. Wow, that, goodness. That's not very good. I mean, it almost seems... I mean, look, I've had this sneaking suspicion about Splatfests in general, right? About this game. Not, I didn't get so much the vibe in the other one, but I don't know. It seemed like there was more of a script. I almost feel like the victors are already predetermined. I don't know. Maybe that's just crazy, but at the end of the day, I mean, people still vote. At the end of the day, you're still voting on which one you think will win, and you're playing the game hoping it'll have an influence on who wins. But I think, but yeah, I think there's like a distinct. I think this time around it almost feels like there was a distinct winner in mind. Like I remember watching this show of food theory, right? Then hosted by the late great Matthew Patrick, where where he brought to the attention in the days of the early internet, where this cereal Chex, I think it was, tried to have an election style vote for their consumers, right, on which one should be the new flavor. Should Chex have a chocolate flavor, or a garlic and onion flavor? Something you wouldn't really attribute to cereal, right? And basically the vote was designed so that there would be a very clear winner, right? Like the company already had in mind to make the chocolate cereal, but they just made a phony baloney sweepstakes, if you will, to allow their consumers to vote on which one they want to quote unquote win. So they already had a winner already mapped out, and they were already probably in the process of making the chocolate cereal. But again, this was when the internet was just starting to take off, and this was around the first time that they were allowing voting online. Well, unfortunately, people in mass tried to vote for the other flavor, right? The garlic and onion flavor. The choice that wasn't meant to win, and so basically what ended up happening was Chex basically, I mean, I don't know, maybe it wasn't Chex. Anyway, they basically told everybody, look, we're sorry, chocolate won, and we understand your frustrations, and we'll get back to you. They didn't want to admit that they messed up, right? They didn't want to basically come out and say, look, we already intended to make the chocolate cereal, because they couldn't admit that the they could admit that the voting was fake, right? So I think eventually they did make a limited run garlic and onion flavor, which, if you think about it, I mean, garlic and onion Chex, I mean, yeah, okay, it would not be great for a cereal, but people still put it in Chex Mix, right? Or trail mix, So there's a lot to be said about that. Now what I'm trying to say is that, getting back to the Splatoon here, it almost seems like there was a very clear winner from the get-go as far as these Splatfests. Now, I'm not salty about losing some of these, because again, it could be said that it's not about who wins or who is predetermined to win. It's just about whether you, the player, guesses correctly. Because, if you still participate, if you still fight your hardest out there, you can still, rake in the rewards. You just arbitrarily get more rewards for picking a winning team and supporting said team, I mean, even if you come in third place, oh, you can actually get individual stats like conch shells and such. Huh, that's interesting. But yeah, I mean, so at the end of the day, it's basically just really a vote and, an excuse to go out there and represent your team and just have a good time overall, I mean, I had fun. And really, I think that's just the main message overall, Now, in terms of who wins, in terms of, the big Splatfest, in terms of deciding the plot of the next game going forward, assuming there is a Splatoon 4, with past winning, I mean, I don't know, I kind of seem to think that there's going to be like some kind of time travel shenanigans, right? And during the during the Grand Festival episodes, I made kind of a joke about the upcoming Sonic X Shadow Generations, you know, the re-release of Sonic Generations, about how the game, how ever since Smash Brothers Ultimate, like all the games are just kind of meshing together. And so actually I could probably show you right here. I actually managed to take a photo of it during the downtime. But yeah, no sooner do I mention about Sonic Generations, this catches my eye. And no, this is not an edited photo, by the way. This is actually in-game. In fact, you might be able to see it here. Yep, right there. It appeared only briefly, but there it was. Okay, I guess there's two of them, but... But, yeah. So, anyway. Yeah, so I think the games are kind of just mixing together, but that's just me, personally. Okay, now, let's talk about some of the things that I didn't particularly like about Splatoon 3, or this game thus far. Apparently Nintendo, I guess, had already said on Twitter, or Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm still going to call it Twitter. I don't care for the new name. Call it Twitterix or something, or X-Twitter if nothing else. Anyway, on Twitter, and y'all know what I'm talking about, apparently they've already announced that, you know, support for Splatoon 3 is more or less over, but in terms of new things, but they'll still, I guess, support the game for maybe some patches every now and again. You know, not as, it's not going to be as often or as robust, but, you know, it's kind of like how they tried winding down the support for, you know, Animal Crossing and the like. But, so, if I'm to assume that they're going to rehash old Splatfests, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with it, you know? I mean, if it means... I'm perfectly fine if they want to redo old Splatfests, use the same dialogue they did before, you know? Nothing new written or whatever. I mean, that's all fine and dandy. I mean, I'll know it. I mean, I know it's a rerun. You'll know it's a rerun. Whether or not the same team is going to win, you know, I mean, that might be a little bit up in the air because, you know, after all, well, it's like ketchup and mayonnaise, you know. I mean, mayonnaise won the first one, but, you know, ketchup in Splatoon 2, when they redid that first Splatfest, basically ketchup ended up winning. So, you know, and I kind of made a... I mean, I wasn't rebranded as a YouTube channel at the time, but... Or a Let's Play channel at the time, but I kind of dressed like the Terminator, you know, basically cracking a joke on how we changed the future, you know, and it was pretty funny to me anyway. So, but yeah, I mean, if the developers don't have any dialogue or unique scenarios written for a particular team, I would not put it past the developers to maybe fudge the results so that they can have a unique dialogue out there. But like I said, I mean, again, ultimately it's just about having a good time, and I think that's just the main message, right? Another thing I don't particularly like about Splatoon 3 is that, you know, much like in Splatoon, I think you could also do it in Splatoon 1, even, and back in the Wii U days, but you can customize, and this is just a nitpick for me, you know, but, I mean, in a game in where you can customize your avatar, you know, to look however you want, you know, in Splatoon 3, they still only refer you as a ruler if you reach the top rank in a Splatfest. I mean, Splatoon 2 had no problem addressing you as a king or a queen, you know? And while it is not technically incorrect to say that a king and a queen are rulers, it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just the timing of which this game comes out, but it just, I mean, look, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm not H phobic, okay? But I'm not G either, you know? And I don't know, it just minimizes or diminishes my victory, to me anyway, if I pour my heart and soul out there and they just address me as a generic ruler, you know? I mean, I don't know, maybe the rest of you feel the same way or don't. I don't know. I mean, don't at me here, okay? I'm just saying, as somebody who is not G, you know, it just screams like I'm being minimized, you know? I mean, I'm not crying over spilt milk here, you know? I mean, again, I'm not H-phobic. I'm just saying, it seems like we compensated in some fashion here with this game, to a degree. I mean, speaking of which, the main story of Splatoon 3, the Alterna plot line, you know, where, spoiler alert, you fight Mr. Grizz, you know, for control of the planet. Look, you really got to play the game for yourself. I really can't. My descriptions don't really do it justice, but you can actually customize, you know, the old Agent 3 now made Captain, so Captain 3, I guess. See, in this game, the main plot line, you take control of a new Agent 3. You're not the Agent 3, if that makes sense, right? So, the Captain, you know, you can customize, when you customize how the Captain looks, it basically gives you the same limited options as far as what that you got in Splatoon 1, you know, boy or girl. You want this one eye color or this eye color, you know. Basically, it's the limited options being a callback to the original options you had in the first Splatoon game back on Wii U. But, you know, whether you played Splatoon 1 or not on the original hardware, or, well, on the Wii U, whether or not you played Splatoon 1 or not, you know, the game very distinctly doesn't refer to the captain as male or female. In fact, I think even Tom Fox pointed that out. You know, they just basically use pronouns like they and them, you know? Even though, also, and I think also, you can also customize what the captain looks like at any time as well, you know? Like, I mean, okay, maybe from a programming standpoint, it's just easier to do that. I mean, after all, back in the PlayStation 2 days, the original, you know, Final Fantasy X, did you notice that they never once referred to Tidus by name? Yeah, no, you could put whatever name you want for the main character. They'll never address your name. You know, I mean, go ahead and play that game if you don't believe me, but I don't know. That's just, anyway, that part there is just a minor nitpick, so best to just leave it at that. But then again, I mean, there is kind of a giant innuendo in Splatoon 1 that, again, probably best not to spoil it, but yeah, we'll just let that sink in. It's you know, and don't get me wrong, I don't mind innuendos, but it kind of sends a message that, you know, it's okay to say that it's okay if we, the company that brings this game to you, you know, makes these jokes, but, you know, Lord forbid that, you know, you go on Twitter or Facebook or whatever and, you know, post this inappropriate stuff, you know. It kind of screams like, it just kind of screams double standard. I mean, I don't mind pushing the envelope a little, but I don't know, but then again, I mean, you know, I guess it depends on where your mind is at, you know. I mean, after all, in jokes are not, I mean, after all, video games are not the first medium to have in jokes. I mean, children's movies had in jokes in them, you know, things that, you know, only some audiences would get over others. So, again, I'll just leave that at that. One of the other new additions to Splatoon 3 over the second one, over Splatoon 2, one that I don't really much care for, I guess, is the swag shop. You know, where you buy like meaningless trophies and merchandise. You know, when you're not buying, when you're not buying clothes or accessories, you can also buy knickknacks that you can place in your locker. And don't get me wrong, I mean, they're okay, but again, I mean, that money would probably be better spent on. I mean, I don't know. I guess it's a trade off. I mean, there's so many different clothes that you could buy, and, you know, when you're not interested in buying clothes, I guess you could just buy swag, you know, but I don't know. I mean, I think I think what we could do for the Splatoon 4 would probably be to have the ability to, like, if you have multiple copies of something, to basically put it up for sale, you know, and let people give you the in-game currency for it. You know, like you can sell back, you know, repeat items for a quick buck or two. I mean, just an option because, you know, I mean, there are people who are probably trying to complete the game 100%, right? And if everything otherwise shows up just randomly in a shop, you know, or chance is given to you by the developers, you know, then I guess then, you know, you could be waiting a while, you know. I mean, take Animal Crossing New Horizons, for example. You know, I actually completed the museum 100%, including the later added art exhibit 100% long before, you know, the addition to the game that allowed Harvey to, you know, have the visitors come by his place, and, you know, where you can basically buy repeat items, or you can buy items that you might be missing once a week. I mean, well, they come out with new items once a week, so, you know, even if you don't plan on playing the game, you know, for an exorbitant amount of time, you could just say, look, you know, we'll help you buy these. Of course, when it comes to getting, like, the artwork, you know, you first have to know what art is real or fake, and if you want a new piece of art to come by, you gotta buy what Red has, right? Because Red, you know, he won't rotate his stock until either the, you know, next Monday comes around, or you buy something that he has so that he can replace it with something new, you know. So, yeah, in summary, I'm not really a fan of the swag portion, primarily in the idea that, you know, I personally would like to be able to sell repeat items back for profit. Another thing that was new from this game over the other one was the unique way they're handling the weapons in this game. You don't exchange money for weapons. You basically get licenses, and then you just basically exchange the licenses for weapons. So if you want more licenses, you basically got to keep playing the game. And, you know, that's cool, that's fine, but I don't know. I guess I just kind of miss doing it the old-fashioned way and getting money for weapons. I mean, that's just me, you know. I mean the weapons in-game, you know. So, and even then, there's, like, the things you got to go through to get it. Like, this game is a grind, right? I mean, it's fun, but it's a grind, you know. And I'm sorry to say, most people just don't have time, you know, to just sit there, you know. What else? Um, well, I could bring up the lack of communication or the need to use your cell phone to talk to other players online, but that's just the online component of the game in general, you know. Personally, if they're going to wait until the Switch 2 is released before announcing a Splatoon 4, I kind of want more games to be better online than just I want I want the online capability of Nintendo to be relatively functional. Well, I want it to be very functional actually, but I want it to I want other online games on the Switch besides Splatoon and Mario Kart to function smoothly. Cuz, you know, like yeah, you can play Smash Brothers on it, but you can't but the reason people do one-on-ones is not only for the competitive nature of it, but also because the game is more sustainable in a one-on-one fight over multiple people, you know? I mean, I just think it's kind of funny that between Splatoon 2 and 3, for example, I mean, Splatoon 3, and, well, you've seen it during some of the matches I've had, where, you know, it'll basically come up with a message saying, oh, one or more players dropped out just as soon as the battle began. And basically it boots everybody out, you know. And, you know, that's cool, that's fine. I mean, I much prefer that than, you know, Splatoon 2, where, you know, basically it could just say that the connection is unstable, boot you out, even though it doesn't look, even though from your perspective it doesn't look like you had the problem, you know, where you're basically playing a match and, you know, everybody else around you freezes or disappears, right? Sorry, my left ear feels like it's popping or something. All right, so yeah, so Splatoon 2, you know, you could have an unstable connection or it'll say the connection's unstable, boot you out, and then when you try to go back into the lobby, the game will say that you had the problem and to make sure your internet's not busted, you know. Otherwise, we'd have to ban you for a little bit, you know. And you know, how to determine whether you have the bad connection or not is, I don't know. I'm just going to say this right now. It's unreal here in 2024 or 2025 next year when, you know, whenever the new Switch comes out. That is assuming it's going to be called the Switch. You know, I would rather they have just good internet overall, because at this point in 2024, 2025, it's unrealistic to expect people to have a LAN connection for internet, you know. Yes, it probably would be a lot faster than a Wi-Fi connection, but I mean, wireless is arguably the future, you know. I mean, if you look outside, if you go down a neighborhood residential street, you'll notice you might look up and notice perhaps a distinct lack of telephone poles. You know, that's because most people have gone to using their cell phones. Hell, you know, I'm so old-fashioned myself that it took since the loss of our own home phone, it took me 6 to 7 months to realize that we didn't have a home phone anymore. I mean, I can't believe nobody told me, but I mean, I don't know. I guess I just got so used to the phone ringing and so many calls that were not, you know, for me specifically, that I just tuned out, you know, phone ringing altogether, that I didn't even realize that we didn't have a phone anymore. I guess what I'm trying to say is wireless is the future, and, you know, hell, I'm sure even Microsoft and Sony realize that too. Oh, now I could go on a tangent about, like, the Nintendo eShop or whatever, but I just want to focus on Splatoon 3, because after all, I just want to focus on online play in this game in particular, because, you know, that's what this video is about. So yeah, going forward, I would like the game to be better equipped, or the servers to better handle, online experiences in general, because, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I like all the retro games on the Nintendo Online service, but it doesn't change the fact that the online is just not good, right? I mean, we have Super Mario Maker 2, for example, right? A game that's supposed to have multiple people playing at once, but but most of the time it's just so slow, or it doesn't even connect whatsoever, you know? I mean, Nintendo proves that they can hit it out of the park. I mean, after all, like I said, Splatoon 2 and 3, little to no problems. Mario Kart 8, little to no problems. So why don't other games function this well? You know? I mean, it's kind of concerning to me, if you ask me. And of course, like I said, I mean, I get that they don't want people to chat with each other while playing a game because, kids, yes, I'm sorry to say, ladies and gentlemen, kids will curse like sailors. Your kids will curse like sailors. That's just the lexicon they use, you know? In fact, I grew up in the 90s, you know? It's the lingo that most of the kids growing up around me used, you know? I mean, that's just what it is. You can't take away a feature, as a form of governing. It's like an ultimate form of control. You can't govern it, so the best way to handle a situation that you can't govern is just not to have it in general, right? I mean, look at look at the 3DS's failed swap note app. You know, one person ruined it for everybody, and then suddenly the app just effectively became worthless. You know, I mean, holy cow. You know, I mean, look, you can't stop people from being people. People are going to be immature. Now, I personally don't mind the idea that, you know, I don't mind the idea that there's no voice chat, or at least not unless you use the app. So, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. Speaking of online play, and this ties more into like the Switch in general. Is there any real reason to have a friend code anymore? I mean, maybe it's because I don't have any real friends or whatever, but like I've got a bunch of people on my quote friends list that I've met in back in the Wii U days, and even just playing this game. People who will somehow share their friend code with me and I accept, and like we don't we don't communicate after that. They're just basically a name on a for me, they're just a name on a list. They're nobody famous, or or at least I don't think they're famous, but like I don't really talk or interact with them in any way. And and perhaps maybe that's for the best, because as old as I am, I mean, I don't know how old those people are. But still, I think friend codes shouldn't the ability to share friend codes or give invites shouldn't be as easy as just simply catching their name online and just shooting them a friend code. That should be, you want to, friend codes, I think, should be just shared. Like, you give your friend code, somebody else can input the friend code wherever they get it from, and then they can shoot you an invite that way. I don't need a bunch of random people that I've never met, that I just happen upon online, that I can't even talk to, by the way, to just shoot me a friend code. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still up for online play, but that's just a critique in online games in general. Um, so let's talk about the hosts of Splatoon 3, specifically Deep Cut, Shiver Fry, and Big Man. I'm personally fine with the idea that there's like a new group per game, right? But on the other hand, I mean, you can't. It's unrealistic to expect the lore, with each new group coming in. You can't expect a game to the next game to incorporate everybody in some way. Like in Splatoon 2, for example. I mean, they had no problem, making Callie and Marie kind of more or less the focus of the in-game story. Not the DLC story, the Octo expansion, but they don't. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. Um, for another, and that's another thing about the speaking of the groups. I mean, they're performers, right? And I mean, when you talk about like Off the Hook, for example, I mean, it seems like only yesterday that we finally got the update, the side order, to basically give us the second in-game lobby menu, in Gopolis Square. And that's another thing I don't like about this game. Like, it's like, I mean, with all the copy and pasting, it kind of brings to question how much work, quote unquote, did they actually do between the games. I mean, yes, there are differences, and I acknowledge that, but I don't know. It's like, I mean, Splatoon 1, to be fair, I mean, it's been a long time since we saw Inkopolis, so, I don't mind the fact, they may have taken some liberties based on what I remember or don't remember about the place, but Splatoon 2, I mean, there are some people out there who still have that on their system. I think I finally, like, I don't think I deleted the game, but I deleted the software from my system because I'm going to need a lot of space for newer games, when they arrive. So, but yeah, I mean, the copy and paste nature, and even in the online matches, I mean, I'm perfectly fine with the omission of some maps, but when the majority of the maps are all brand new, I mean, I'm fine with brand new maps and a few older ones, but like when the meat and potatoes of the game is the online portion and being able to fight with other players, I mean, I don't know, like between Splatoon 2 and 3, I mean, there's a lot of similar stages, and I don't know. I guess I just don't like the idea of like the same maps being brought over again and again, I mean, like, what's Splatoon 4 going to look like, I mean, honestly, having said all that, I mean, I almost would suspect that there wouldn't be a Splatoon 4. I mean, I wouldn't mind a Splatoon 4, honestly. But, I don't know. I guess I gotta think of it like, okay, how is this going to be different than the other one, right? Now, if I'm to assume, I mean, excuse me. I mean, the new system that's coming out, the Switch 2, I think they're still going to call it I think they're going to officially call it the Switch 2. I'm not sure. But, I'm just going to say this, if Nintendo wants their system to succeed, they have to do a better job of, advertising their new system, I would even go so far as to go old school and advertise on television, on a regular basis, your new system. Or maybe, show up at an electronics store and, hand out, like, pamphlets or something for, people to say, hey, here's why this system is different than the other one. Basically solicit information, some quick rapid-fire information that would tell consumers, okay, here's the old system that you're familiar with. Here's the one we're trying to sell. Here are the differences. I mean, it's like the difference between a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2. PlayStation or Sony really knocked it out of the park with the PlayStation 2. I mean, when it comes to playing the older titles, I mean, the system was just brighter, overall, and loaded PlayStation 1 games faster, I'm just saying Nintendo's got to really knock it out of the park in explaining or advertising, because otherwise, there probably wouldn't really be a need for a Splatoon 4 if you can't get the system off the floor, Anyway, I kind of ranted on there. I'm sorry. But yeah, I'm perfectly fine with the idea that there's different, idols, I guess, for each game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe Splatoon 4 could focus on like a completely different group, or I don't know, maybe a rock band or something. I mean, that'd be fine. As far as the titular heroes, I mean, I don't know. I mean, apart from the in-game avatar, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys come up with your own solution. You guys come up with your own theories, I personally would rather wait for Nintendo to come up with the ideas there, but yeah, one thing I am concerned about with Splatoon 3 now that the Grand Festival is over, and that is it's basically the Splatfests, right? Like, in-game lobby, whether it's Splatsville, Inkopolis Square, whatever, it's just like with Splatoon, with the first Splatoon, they had the Callie and Marie amiibos that you basically, after the Splatfests were over, you scan their amiibos, and basically you can turn the lobby into what it would look like during a Splatfest. Not that there was a new Splatfest going on, but you had the option of seeing what it looked like. And, with Pearl and Marina, only just joining this game relatively late in its cycle, there's a lot of Splatfests. I mean, Pearl and Marina had the fewest Splatfests of them all, individually speaking, right? In this game. And, that's just a graphical part of the game that one can never access unless Nintendo makes use of the amiibos somehow, I mean, I'm just going to say this right now, if you want the price point of a game to be if you want the price point for a game to be worth something, you got to have some kind of end of life update, like, hey, you want to turn your lobby into what it would look like during a Splatfest, just scan the appropriate amiibo, done, because otherwise I think it just cheapens the game, like, it's like imagine buying an MMORPG game, that comes on a disc or whatever, downloading it, playing it for a week, and then suddenly you get a message from the devs saying, oh, this game's dying, yeah, we're pulling the plug, great, thanks for letting me know about that. There goes, $50, $60 plus whatever I spent on expansion packs, I mean, it's not a good feeling, believe me. I feel like I could say more, but then I'd probably be talking in circles, I guess. What other things is there? No, I think I touched all the bases. So, yeah, as far as speaking of amiibos, what they call the freshest fits loadout, I mean, yeah, you can scan an amiibo, get unique equipment and all that, but I don't know. I don't know if I should at this point still go out of my way to buy the Alterna Callie and Marie amiibos. I mean, if I do buy them, if I do buy the ones of the Squid Sisters and Off the Hook, I'd probably be leaving it in its box unless there's probably something new with them. Because, I mean, I don't know. They can't, collecting amiibos can be expensive, but I don't go out. But since Smash Ultimate, I don't think I'd go out of my way to buy them at length, So, I don't know. In terms of getting the in-game gear for this game, I mean, if this game's already over, donezo, like, I don't see any reason to get those amiibos, right? I mean, I like the mechanic of basically saving a preset loadout of your clothing choices for your avatar, but I mean, Splatoon 3 already gives you 5 empty spots for that, I don't know, like, I mean, I don't know, unless amiibos aren't really going to be a thing in the next couple of years. I mean, maybe not. Maybe reserve that power for amiibos going forward. Again, I don't know what the future of amiibos are in general. I mean, it would be a shame mechanic to just omit, but, I mean, I'd understand. So, anyway, this is the critique of Splatoon 3. Overall, I had a fun time with it. My only regret is that if I had started my YouTube... Actually, hold on. Let's see, I think I started... I don't remember when I started my YouTube... Wait, 2023... Yeah, no, I started recording since Power, Wisdom, and Courage. So, yeah, my only regret is that I didn't rebrand as a Let's Play channel sooner. I probably would have been able to do a video of the other Splatfests that came before now, but anyway, yeah, so this is the critique of Splatoon 3. I'm sorry if my babbling was a little incoherent at times. I'm not really a talkative person, and I don't have anybody to talk to, which is kind of sad if I think about it. But speaking of communication, feel free to comment down below. Any comment will help the channel grow. Any likes, subscriptions especially, whatever you got, I'd be more than welcome. So, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next critique video. Later.